Hello, everyone. Welcome into another episode of the Four Quarters podcast powered by Four Quarters Media. I'm your host, Tyler Bennett, here with you once again. This is episode 31, one that has been highly recommended, highly suggested on a few occasions. So I was thrilled to make this one a reality. We go back out to the ACAC. We've been on a bit of a West Coast kick lately, if you will. We head back to the ACAC. We go to the North Division. We chat with Keyano College Huskies guard and reigning team MVP, Jacob Simmons, in a chat that was a ton of fun from start to finish. Learned a lot about Jacob, his career, kind of what's shaped him into the basketball player and person he is today, and learned about his career that's taken him from Olds College in Olds, Alberta, to the East Coast at Memorial University and Cape Breton University, and then what has ultimately led him back to his hometown of Fort McMurray, Alberta, and the Keyano College Huskies under head coach Jeremy Wallinga. We looked at kind of what he's been up to with COVID. He mentioned his own side hustle, if you will, his own business that he started, which makes a lot of sense for the business administration student that he is. It just start to finish was a lot of fun. And I don't want to give too much away in this intro, but I think this is one you're going to enjoy and one I think that you can draw some inspiration from as well, not only from Jacob and his ability to fight through what he has growing up, but also other members of his family. So, again, this one's come highly suggested, highly recommended. So I'm thrilled that we were able to get Jacob on the podcast and really put a voice to his story and get to know him a little bit more as well. So with that all said, let's jump right in to episode 31 of the Four Quarters podcast powered by Four Quarters Media with myself and Keyano College Huskies guard Jacob Simmons. Enjoy. All right, so I'm now thrilled to be joined by a guest that has been suggested on more than one occasion. Jacob Simmons, guard at Keyano College, the Huskies. Jacob, I want to first off thank you for doing this. How are things on your end out in Fort McMurray?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Um, Out here it's getting cold. It's getting very cold out here, but
Yeah.
all things considered with COVID and everything that's going on, I mean, I'm doing pretty well. Doing pretty well.
I've seen photos of people out there in the snow already. Like this, like I can't. That I don't miss
Yeah,
that part of Alberta. That's for sure. I don't miss the snow in middle of October. Like that's ridiculous.
yeah. It's actually surprising because I'm pretty sure that southern Alberta has a lot more snow. There's not actually a
Mm,
whole lot of snow out here right now,
mm-hmm.
but it's cold.
Yeah.
Southern Alberta got really a lot of snow, but out here
Yeah.
it's just cold all the time.
Saw a guy, Cassidy Ryan, used to play at Brock. He's out
Okay.
in Banff and Lake Louise right now, and he had like videos on his Instagram, like
Uh-huh.
all covered in snow. Like not even the
Yeah,
mountains, like the ground, like everything is just white.
yeah, yeah. I mean, at least Banff and like Lake Louise down there is it's beautiful down there. It's very
Right.
nice. So,
That's true. But still,
yeah,
like snow this
yeah,
early is weird.
yeah. It's not for me, but
No.
you know,
I'm
you
a
gotta do what you gotta do, I
I'm
guess.
a I'm a I'm a fair weather person. I don't do well with snow. I don't mind the cold, but it's the snow. I can't do snow. I don't like rain. Like
No, see, I'm the opposite. I can deal with the snow, but the cold is really what gets me. When the wind hits my
okay,
face, I'm just makes me
that's
mad.
true. That's true. I remember the first time I was out when I was lived out west. The first time I had like a minus 30, minus 40 with a wind chill, and it just smacked me right in the face
Yeah,
because out here in Ontario we don't get minus 20 with wind
yeah.
chill,
See,
and that just slaps you
see,
right in the face.
yeah, like my car will like break down and
Mm-hmm.
or you gotta jump your car or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like it's tough. It's tough. Your fingers, you feel like you're gonna lose your fingers for real.
Plugging in cars at night was never a thing until I was at West, and it's everywhere is plugging in their car. Just
Yes.
to
If I don't plug in my car, yeah, I'm gonna lose it. It's gonna die. Like it's gone.
like that's tough. Like I used to work in golf too, so we had a set date that we closed in Canmore, and every year it was the same day, like the first Sunday of October, and
Yeah.
every year that Monday after covered in snow. I don't know why. I don't know what happened, but then we're trying to clean up like golf carts up top in the snow, and like you can't.
Uh,
Like it's just not.
and I guarantee the 2 weeks leading up to that were still probably pretty cold.
Oh yeah, like frost delays. Like
They're
you're
cold. Yeah.
waiting 2-3 hours to get out, and yeah,
The
like
morning's cold. There's some cold
oh,
mornings.
even in summer, like at 7 a.m., like it's cold because you're in the
Yes.
mountains, and like
Yeah.
we had snow days in July. Like it would snow in a July, and then it'd be sunny in the afternoon. Like it's
Yeah. I
you
always
get all four
felt
seasons in Alberta in one day.
oh easily, especially in October, man. Especially going into like I guess they always say you don't even really get like a fall out here because
Mm-mm.
it's like summer and it'll be like really warm, like 30 degrees, and then September hits and all of a sudden it drops to like I mean it snowed like October 1, so
It's crazy.
yeah. I always tell my brother like we work out in the morning in
Mm.
the summertime, like if you gotta do like an early morning for some reason, like at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm like I could do this any day. It's like it's warm.
Yeah.
I wake up and I can still wear a t-shirt and shorts outside, but then I got practice at 6 a.m. in December,
Ooh.
and I got to walk to the gym, and it's like minus 40 at 6
Mm-mm.
a.m. Is I don't know if I can do this. That's
No.
like a really different type of that's a different type of cold. Is when it's 6 a.m. you go into practice, and it's minus 40.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Those are the days that you wonder why you play this game. Those are the days you question, is this even worth it? It's minus 40 and it's 6 o'clock in the morning. This is not fun.
that 5 minute walk is like really you have some crazy thoughts in your head.
It feels like it takes forever too because it's so cold and that's all you think about. And you're like, you can't get there fast enough. And 5 minutes feels like an hour.
Yeah, it's the worst. It's yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I mean, I guess, like you said, with everything that's gone on this year, with the pandemic and everything else, if cold's the worst thing you have to deal with
yeah.
on what day is this? We're recording this October 26th. If that's the worst thing you have to deal with right now, I think we're in a good spot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I was complaining about the cold, but realistically, if I had to do like a month ago, if I knew I had to do 6 a.m. and minus 30, I would do it just because I hadn't played. There's not basketball like that a month ago,
Hmm.
right? So I would have done it in a second.
What did you get up to then when COVID hit, obviously, and everything shut down? Like, what did you do to pass the time when there's no gyms? Like, and it shut down in March, so you guys are still cold in
Yeah,
March.
it was
Like,
cold.
what
Yeah,
did you find any like new hobbies, or what did you do to pass the time for the last like 7 months that it's been, which feels like forever?
yeah. In the beginning, I live with my brother. My brother plays basketball as well.
Okay.
He's gonna be playing at York this year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was me and him like in our house, and everything was locked down, and we just like for the first bit we were like, hey, I gotta find like some weights or I gotta find something. Like I'm gonna go crazy. I'm a guy that like I like to be doing stuff. Like I don't
Mm-hmm.
really like to just like kind of chill for too long. So
Right.
yeah, we were lucky that like Fort McMurray is like kind of a smaller place, and like I know a bunch of people here. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up like pretty early on getting like a lot of weights just from like my old like like my brother's high school he was at. We ended up getting like a lot of plates,
Mm-hmm.
like a squat bar,
Okay.
everything. So we were pretty set up like as far as weightlifting pretty early, but it was still like really cold. So we would like I don't know, just I can't even remember. It was crazy just because I was lifting. Like we'd wake up and try to just when I mean you know how it is. Like you try to keep somewhat of a routine,
Mm-hmm.
try to do something. Like I always try to wake up like don't sleep in too much. Like try to wake up kind of early and like lift with whatever materials we could, and then
Right.
um, I remember I was doing like me and him were just doing like ball handling in the basement. It's like on the carpet, man. Like we were just because I would sit like I mean you'd be off for so long.
Right.
Then like even if just like 15 minutes, just like we just do ball handling. We just go on YouTube and like just find some different YouTube video
Right.
every day of someone doing something as far as
Yeah.
basketball. Other than that, I started reading a lot, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
that's always like everyone always says, and I always said like, oh, I want to get back into reading. I want to read more
Right.
books.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I actually did. I actually downloaded a bunch of like audiobooks and
Okay.
yeah, I spent a bunch of time reading, which is really good, I guess. Yeah, like I really
Yeah.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
So
There's not much else you can really do outside of like staying in your house. So, I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
dribbling on a carpet, I mean, is better than not dribbling at all. But like, like you said, it's you try to keep a routine.
hmm
At the start, it was so hard because like
oh
I'm like
man,
you, like I need to be doing something just
yeah,
to
yeah,
stay busy. Like, I don't like. I'm sure my wife can hear me. She's in the other room. She'll agree to this. Like I don't know how to stop and not do anything. It's
yeah,
like I work full time, then I have a second part time job, and then I do this, and then I
yeah.
took on web design for another company. Like when everything stopped, like it's
Oh wow, yeah,
like what do I
yeah,
do? Like I'm working from home now. I can't go anywhere,
yeah,
and now I'm just stuck at a desk or a kitchen table. I'm like it's tough.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's
Outside of basketball, like me and my brother, uh we started we started a drop shipping company actually. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Like I saw a couple of videos and actually my mom got her. She was at the dentist and she got her teeth whitened at one point, and it was really expensive. It was like $300 or something to get
Oh
it
damn.
professionally. Yeah, and I was like, that's crazy. So did some research, and I was just like, I mean, I'm this is after this is after I like work out and do all this stuff, and I'm still have like however many days, like still have
Mm-hmm.
like 10 hours a day where I'm just like, all right, what do I do? You know what I mean?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So then I found this some drop shipping videos, and I started found some like really good like teeth whitening products,
Mm-hmm.
and I just started drop shipping these teeth whitening products, started a little brand, and that was kind of my project over the summer, aside from basketball, just to kind of
Right.
pass the time, which is pretty cool. I learned a lot from that because dealing with different suppliers and choosing
Right.
the right product, and
Right.
yeah, yeah,
And
kind
that's
of
kind of.
random,
Mm-hmm.
because like it was teeth whitening. Like a lot of my friends were like, "Bro, is this you?" Like I was like, "Hey, like hey, share this, take a
Mm-hmm.
look at this product," and they were like, "Are you really doing teeth whitening?" And I was like, "Yeah," like because it just so happened that it was like kind of worked out that way. But yeah,
Right.
that was like probably that was like a big time passer, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
which was pretty cool. It was a good experience. I enjoyed it.
You see a lot of those kind of startups and everybody trying to start something in the pandemic because everything's closed. Like you can't do anything, and heaven forbid you were one of the ones that got laid off, and now all your income's gone. So you're finding these different ways to do
Just yeah,
essentially do something, let
yeah,
alone make some money off it as well. But like just to keep yourself from going absolutely insane inside for 10, 12 hours a day. But I mean, online too, like it says you're in business admin, if that's correct.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
this is kind of right up your alley, trying to essentially start your own business from the ground up. I mean, that's whether it's teeth whitening or whatever it is, this is
yeah, yeah,
basically right up what you want to do.
yeah. That's kind of why I did it is because I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna like eventually, maybe one day I want to be able to start my own business and
Mm-hmm.
uh, be my own boss kind of thing. So I was like, might as
Right.
well, try right now and put in a little bit of an investment and see what can come from it and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, definitely learned a lot. Definitely learned a lot of different stuff along the way, like just dealing with like stuff that comes up that I never even expected would even happen. So
Right.
yeah,
And
definitely.
it's and at that point too, like it's all on you. Like you are your boss. Like you have to figure it out yourself. You learn
Yeah,
a lot about the process, and you also learn a lot about you as yourself because now you see how you handle these things, and then down the road when you start your own business again, you have this. Even though like it's a small thing now, who knows what's going to happen from this? But you have that experience now to then apply to whatever you do down the road.
hmm Yeah,
which is
exactly.
wicked.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun.
Now, did your even though your buddies were questioning it, did they support? Did they get their teeth whitened? Did they get the products from you, or did they just say the hell with
Oh
them?
yeah, yeah. Like
Okay,
there was a lot of people like that were kind of questioning at first because they're like, "Yo, are you really doing this? Like, is this you?" And then once they like, I had a couple. One of my brother's friends was like, "Hey, like I got." He was like, "Yeah, I got some brown teeth. Like, I need this." So I was like, "All right." So he was my one of my test subjects, and
nice.
yeah, he loved it. He loved it, and a bunch of people really were rocking with it. So that was the other thing that I found that I really never really thought about when I was doing like business was like the outcome of like what like my product would bring. Like when I
Mm-hmm.
seen like how it affected him and like
Mm-hmm.
some of the people that I knew that were like their teeth were like getting whiter, they were like, you know, obviously really happy and stuff, and that kind of made me feel good too that I
Mm-hmm.
could kind of do that for them, especially in like COVID when you're not really interacting with anybody, you know what I mean? So just any little thing where they, you know, a little text like, hey, you know, I love the
Yeah.
product, da, da, da. It was great.
Any sort of like communication or anything back from someone else, like in the gratification, because like there wasn't a whole lot to be happy about since March. Like it
No, no,
was depressing to say the
yeah,
least. So
rough time.
when you see, like you said, people kind of benefit from a service or a product you can give them, makes you feel good because you kind of helped play a part in that. That part of it's kind of cool too.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Like I see that with this. Like we talked before coming on, like there's not a lot of people that tell or give a platform for athletes to tell stories, and like hearing like from guys and girls afterwards, like some of them have never been on a podcast before, and like they've never shared their story, like just to be that kind of outlet to get them to share their stories is kind of cool. So you see that after the fact, and I mean, to me, it's just a lot of fun to kind of control your own thing, whether it's teeth whitening or whatever it is you want to do. It's just a lot of fun to kind of do it your own
yeah.
way and put your own spin on things.
Exactly, exactly. So like for me, I was kind of like a test because, I mean, obviously, uh, teeth whitening isn't something I'm going to be doing for my whole life, but uh, it was definitely like a something I was like, yeah, like I love doing this. Like I like, you know, I like the business aspect of stuff. I like making other people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so that was definitely like really reaffirming for me that was like I was kind of headed in the right direction in that sense.
Yep.
And then again, like I said, with so many different things that I learned, whenever I do start to take like a really, you know, a uh, serious like route into business, whatever, you know, make more of like a bigger investment into that area, then at least I'll have some kind of a little bit of a, you know, know what to expect a little bit more than
Right.
what I did in the summer,
Yeah.
right? Going from nothing.
What's the end goal then for you? Is it to own your own business? Is there a certain type of business you want to run? Like when school's all said and done, what what's the end goal for you? Like what do you want to do with this?
Um, well, for me, I've talked about it a lot. Actually, me and my friend have talked about it a lot. I want to try to, well, when school is done, I want to try and play pro somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
That's my number one goal right
Yep.
now. And then after that, like I've always been into training and into basketball like just my whole life. So I think that somewhere in there, just helping people with basketball in
Mm-hmm.
some sense, or training in some way or another, I think that would be the route that I would end up going. That's the route
Okay.
that I want to go in.
Okay.
Uh, Starting something up because I have a lot of ideas and a lot of stuff that I do with
Mm-hmm.
that. So that would be probably that's a very like basic, very
Okay.
generic,
But I mean,
you know.
there's so much you can do with that, though, right? Like basketball training and fitness. There's so many different ways that you can take that,
Mhm.
and I think now, especially with the pandemic, we've seen kind of just how important that fitness piece is to like everyone's day to day life. I don't think we realize it until gyms are closed and you can't do it anymore. You're like, hey, like
Mhm.
this is a big part of not only like physical health, mental health, just your daily routine. When you have that big section of your routine kind of just taken out, it's you don't realize how significant it is until it's gone. So I mean, you can take that
Yeah, man, it's
any which
crazy.
way.
Yeah, that's why I mean, and I've always been like that way. Like you said, I'm sure people have said about like my work ethic and stuff,
Hmm.
like you said, and that's just how I've always been with training and stuff. So I feel like that's probably, and now that I know, like I said, with the business, I really do enjoy that. So I feel if I can somehow incorporate those two things together, that would be an ideal situation.
Yeah, you mentioned your work ethic, and you can see it through business in the summer with the pandemic, your basketball career. Like you said, you wanted to be in, you know what you want to do. Like you want to do fitness and basketball training. You've been in that your whole life. Like one of the guy you've played against in the ACAC, didn't really have a question. He said he wanted to talk about your work ethic, but then he added this at the end. Has to be one of the hardest workers in the ACAC with the flex emoji at the end. Just to throw that in there. Um, what really like where do I guess lack of better terms, where did your work ethic come from? Like how did that develop over the years to become quote one of the hardest workers in the ACAC?
A bunch of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Just like how I was, yeah, just like always had a chip on my shoulder that wanted to wanted to get better. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be the best that I could be and be the best. And I knew that other people were gonna be more like physically gifted just off the bat. So the only way that I was gonna be able to get past them was just to work harder and eventually over time surpass them and get more athletic, get stronger, get better. And that's kind of what started it. That was and that's just how I always been. I always feel like I can get better. I can get better than you. I just got to work a bit harder. Maybe that's it.
So there's no like real secret recipe to it. It's just kind of you see everyone else, you just kind of self motivate. You want to be just be the best, right? So you just got to put that work in, and the only way you're going to get there is
Yeah.
if you put the work in.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I. There's a lot of stuff like growing up in Fort McMurray as well. Like
Mm.
a
Hmm.
small town. Like and it's a grind sometimes. Like it's a very. I mean, it's a nice place, but it's a small town, and uh, to make it out, you don't always have the same opportunities as someone from a big city.
Hmm.
So that's another thing. Like you just gotta, you might get overlooked. You might get that. Um, yeah, a big one for me was like a lot of like I feel there's a few people that know this. Like my mom has been sick for a while. With my mom's had cancer since I was in grade 3. She's had
Oh shit.
lots, yeah, like lots of different stuff. So for me, like with my drive, I think a lot of that came from her.
Hmm.
Like I mean, she's obviously still around today, but
Hmm.
like she's had like crazy, man. If
Damn.
I like the whole story is like I think she's had like 5 different types of cancer, and like through like literally since
Jeez.
like even right now she's got like some, and so I've seen someone who really like really like wants to like what was someone said this like that quote, uh if you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, you will succeed. You probably heard that.
Hmm. Yeah.
uh Anyways, and like that like I always relate that to my mom because like I've seen someone like really like fight like for their life,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
and so like for me basketball, like that's just work, you know what I mean, like
Hmm.
that's nothing compared to the stuff that I've seen her go through. So in my head I'm like, if I'm gonna put my like she put her all, I've seen someone put their all into something and really like succeed, like she shouldn't really be here right now.
Hmm.
So for me it's like kind of doing an injustice to not really put your all into something, you know what I mean, like if I'm whether it's basketball, whether it's business, whether it's whatever, like just
Hmm.
really put yourself into it and like go at it. And I feel like I can succeed in whatever I do as long as I really give myself to it.
Well, sounds like your mother is one an inspirational woman
Yeah.
because one battle let alone 5. Or like that's yeah, that's incredible that she's just continued to fight that fight. And like you
Yeah.
said, when you see somebody fighting that hard, essentially for their life, and constant battles, like you said, I think it was you said since grade 3.
Yeah.
Like when you see someone fighting a battle that severe for that length of time,
Yeah.
there you like you said, it's an injustice if you don't put your all into what you want to do, because they're fighting this battle, and what you're doing is nowhere near what she's going through. And it just, to me, it would make me want to just fight that much harder to reach my goals and my dreams, because you see her fight and it's just inspires you to push.
Yeah. That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. I mean, obviously, like I said, with like I'm self motivated anyways, but
Mm-hmm.
that I think definitely plays a role of like, you know,
Yeah.
it's
You could be the toughest guy in the world or woman in the world, and if you had someone in your family or close to you that was fighting that type of battle, that would inspire you regardless. I don't care who you are. That would like I don't even want to say, like, to me that's incredible. She's overcome
yeah,
it
no,
not
for me
once but
it's
4 or
crazy. Yeah.
5 times. Like that's
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like and for me, like I mean that's some I mean I know I went pretty deep pretty quick,
that's all right.
um but like I said, it's been since like I was in grade 3.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that's like kind of just been part of my life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like for a lot of people it's like, whoa, like that's pretty deep, bro. Like but
that's what went through my head. I had that whoa. I was
but
like, damn, okay,
yeah, it is deep, but for me, it's like I live like it's just I've been living this life for a long time now,
right.
so it's like I don't have any problem with about talking about it, and neither does she. Like I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
talk about her situation if she didn't
Yeah.
want to either. But she's also an inspiration for a lot of other people who are just starting a cancer battle. I know a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people that kind of will reach out to her just
Mm-hmm.
because that kind of stuff obviously is like really tough to go through on your own, and seeing someone who's been able to kind of push the limits of what you're told you can do
Mm-hmm.
in the health aspect is like really inspirational for a lot of people going through that stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, she's an
100%.
inspiration for sure.
Oh, 100%. Like that. And like you said, like to still like to be continuing to fight today and inspiring others who maybe going through this for the first time and don't know what to expect, like what the fight's going to be like, for her to be as open as she sounds and be willing to help anyone who
Oh, yeah.
reaches out. Like that's even more inspirational. Like this
Mhm.
just keeps getting more and more inspiring. Like I don't think I have a little bit of chills too. Like that's incredible. Like that's I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, yeah. It's wild, man. I mean, you know, it's just a testament to like that's like when you say people say, "Oh, what's your mindset and stuff."
Yeah.
Like that's really it. Is like I really think like if you put your mind to something like wholeheartedly and like you really do, and I don't mean like, oh, I'm gonna just do it. Like I mean really truly believe it.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta believe it like yourself. You can't like just say it. If you really do believe it inside, then you know I really think if you obviously put the work in and you do that, like you can really make stuff happen. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, that's how I've been. That's how I just try to continue doing. Yeah.
I now see where the drive and work ethic comes from. It makes a lot more sense now. But and like you said too, like you can say it, that only gets you so far, but actions speak louder than words. And if you say it just to put on a face, like, yeah, I can do this, and not actually do it, it doesn't do you any good. It doesn't
Yeah.
get you anywhere. You got to turn those words into actions, like deliberate actions. Put a plan in place and run with it, or else the words mean absolutely nothing.
Yep. Exactly. You got to put the work in. Number
Mm-hmm.
one, like that's if you're gonna have that attitude and you got to have that inspiration, like it still doesn't mean anything unless you really do it yourself. So
And then
yeah,
just take it day by day. You got to take it one day at a time. Like if you start it day one thinking you're going to make, if you're starting a business, you're going to make $100,000 in your first day, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. If it did, we'd all be rich.
Yeah, man.
Like we'd all be retired. Nobody would work. You'd have all the money you want, and that'd be it. That's not how it works.
No, that's another thing is like, you know, with her, like, that's another way I was raised. Like, not being like, I never planned, you know, months in advance. You kind of just plan really like day by day or week by week, right? Because you just can't really plan that far in ahead when you're dealing with something like that. So really, just like you said, that when you said that, that really popped into my mind, like day by day. Like my dad and my mom used to say that. Just take it like day by day. Everything you do, like just try to get better each day. And like for real, like that's no like fronting with it. Like just really like actually doing it and really actually believing that that's what you're gonna do is huge.
Yeah. So you got to be able to adapt, kind of roll with the punches, whatever comes at you. Take it as it comes, deal with it at the time, and then like, yeah, like I have a habit of that. Like I like to plan things a little bit too far in advance sometimes, and it bites me in the ass a fair bit because I mean you don't know what's going to happen between now and let alone like tomorrow night at this time. Like who knows? Like every hour is changing. Like it's
such a crazy time. Yeah, especially now. Now. Before
geez.
it was always relevant, but now like now you can't even plan like a week in advance because you don't even know if what's going to be open or not. You know what I mean? If I can walk outside without a mask on or not.
Like especially like out here in Ontario, like we had like a Sunday. It was like 1,040 cases. Like so that was. We're recording this on the 26th, the Monday. The 25th, the Sunday, there was over 1,000 new cases in Ontario. Like Toronto and Ottawa are just doing whatever they want. It seems like. And the rest of us around, we're just kind of like, you know, doing our thing. But I see people, like I'm in Sarnia, so we're at the bottom of Ontario.
Yeah.
People are still out not wearing masks. Like it's ridiculous. Like you're at the point now, we've been in this for March, 9 months. Wear a damn mask when you're in public.
What I was saying.
It's not hard.
I was saying, we all just like wear a mask for like just 2 weeks for a month. Does everybody put a mask on and we can get it over with? Because my brother, like I mentioned, my brother was out at York this year, and he actually just came back. He came back. He went out because he was gonna have the training camp and all that stuff, and like then like they couldn't really play basketball out there because you know nothing was really open. So yeah, he was kind of waiting to see what to do, but like same thing, like he asked the coach, and the coach is like, man, I got if it could be, we could practice in a week or we could practice in 2 months. Like I don't know what's gonna happen. So yeah, after Toronto and Ottawa, I believe, shut down again back to stage 1 or stage 2 or whatever it is. Yeah, he came back because he was like, man, I can't.
It's tough.
Yeah, and it's different because out in Alberta, it's not as strict as Ontario for sure.
No,
there's not as many. I think actually just today, there's 50 cases here in Fort McMurray.
Okay, yeah, because I saw Keyano just implemented like you have to wear masks in all like public spaces now.
Yeah, that was literally like a few hours ago.
Yeah,
that was all Fort McMurray said. I think if the cases go above 50, you have to wear a mask in public spaces. That's the incentive. So people,
like out here, like you're wearing masks, public spaces, regardless of the numbers. I think we have, I want to say 14 in our city of 75,000, and it's masks everywhere.
Yeah, so that's crazy. See, because we're about the same. I think Fort McMurray is about 85,000 right now, something like that. I could be wrong, but around that area, and it's it's
just weird to see how every province is in a different stage. Like everybody's in a different position. Like you guys are in gyms, like schools in Alberta are in gyms, schools out west are playing exhibition or like scrimmages, inter squad scrimmages. Out east, they're still practicing, and then we're over here with Quebec, just like, nah, we're not doing a thing.
You guys can't even get in any gym, I heard. Yeah.
I think there are 3 schools in the OCAA that are in their gyms.
Oh, okay.
OUA McMaster started today, which I'm kind of surprised about,
Yeah.
but
Well.
there's no season. So I don't know what the point of this is other than
Yeah.
for getting people in the gym for mental health. That's really all I can think of
Yeah.
because there's no games and nobody's going to play this year out in Ontario at least. Hopefully you guys can have some sort of season.
Yeah. I don't know. It's still so sketchy because like I know that
Right.
they came out with like the official release of we're still going to work on it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think the idea is that uh, like as of right now, if the cases are the way they are, it's a go, depending
Okay.
on what schools opt in and out. But I think
Right.
they just put that out as if like to say if the cases do go a bit crazy, they would shut it down.
Yeah.
But as of like right now, first game I think is January 15, I believe.
Hey, I'm not. Hey, don't do this to me because that I'm not gonna lie. That's my birthday. So if you guys have
Oh,
games
okay.
on the 15th of January,
Man, I
might be an
I want
AC
people
might
to
be an
go.
ACAC specific blog this year, but that's okay.
Man, yeah, we
Oh,
just we have a lot of and the thing is we have a lot of Americans coming this year,
right.
so we it was just like our practices haven't even really been practices just because we just been
Nobody's
kind of
there. Yeah.
yeah, everyone's just kind of
Damn.
we also with COVID like we don't want to have guys come in and then
Mm-hmm.
have them to fly back home and like
Right.
we don't want to do that to people, so
Ooh, the 15th might be a good day then. That's going to be exciting. You just got my
yeah,
hopes up. Now, if this gets canceled, oh, it's going
I
to be the
know
worst
it's
day
gonna be
ever
on my
because
day. It's gonna be on my day.
Quebec said they're announcing by the 15th of January, so they could have a season on the 15th.
Okay.
If everything goes well for Quebec, or not Quebec, Alberta, 15th. Come on.
Yeah.
Like I'm hoping now. I'm
Just,
hopeful.
I'm hoping like that's what I've been told. That's what I've been told is the plan, right? Like we
Hey,
just gotta just wear your masks, social distance, wash your hands, and we can play some basketball in a
just
bit, hopefully.
do your part. It's not that hard.
Yeah, yeah,
Looking at your career a bit towards the end of this, you bounced around a little bit, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. I did.
You started at Olds, then went out east, and then came back home.
Yeah.
What was what was out east like for you? Because you were at Memorial for a year,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
you were at Cape Breton but didn't play. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
What was how does a kid from Fort McMurray end up out east?
Uh, yeah. My story is crazy, but
You can go if you've already gone deep on this. So if you want to go
no,
into
no,
it,
no.
you go right ahead.
I'll tell everything, man. Like
I'm
I
in.
played at Olds my first year,
Hmm.
and then I ended up there
That
was a
was
bunch.
14, 15, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so you've been around for a minute.
I've been around. Yeah, I've been around, man. Yeah, I played in Olds my first year. I played behind a really, really good point guard,
Hmm.
Phil Jalapor.
Hmm.
He's playing first league Germany right now.
Damn.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, he's really, really good. He's one of my best friends, and yeah, then like just a bunch of reasons why I ended up leaving there. Like, I won't get into that, but
Hey, it's all
ended up
good.
going back home. One of
Hmm.
my mom was a part of it as well.
Right.
I ended up going playing a year at Keyano
Hmm.
when I was young, and we hosted nationals that year, CCA nationals,
Hmm.
and yeah, I had a really good performance at nationals. I played really well, and I ended up getting a few different U Sports looks. Um, and then the athletic director, who was my high school coach at Keyano, went to Memorial University.
Okay.
So one of the schools that contacted me was Memorial,
Hmm.
and yeah, from there, uh, I I went out on a visit to a few places, Memorial one of them, and yeah, really enjoying St. John's. The
Mm-hmm.
people out there were great. Like I loved my teammates and stuff. And yeah, so I signed a Memorial. Um, yeah, and then that year was like really tough for me. I got injured really early on.
Okay.
I I had like a really weird like I strained my groin and like my hip flexor like really bad. So I missed the preseason tournament. Yeah, I missed the
Mm-hmm.
first preseason tournament, and then coming back like it was just tough to get back in. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was like kind of like a step slow like with that kind of injury. It was like really tough.
Right.
And then yeah, I at the same time like I just me and the coach didn't really see eye to eye, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and then I went through that year and like that was like as far as my teammates go, like I loved like those guys were great. I loved all those guys.
Yeah.
Uh, St. John's itself was like really fun. It was a
Right.
really cool place. St. John's was really cool.
A little bit different than Fort.
Oh man, like the East Coast is completely different
Yeah.
than like not the West Coast, but also like the prairies or whatever I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
It's like it's
Such a
really
different lifestyle.
yeah, completely different. And the funny thing is people always say like oh Fort McMurray like it's so cold and like it's like how I'm telling you that St. John's winter
Cold.
was different. Like that was a different type of winter, and anyone. I mean, I don't know if I think you've talked to a few people from Memorial, but like
Yeah.
if they don't say that the St. John's winter is crazy, I was like, this is crazy
Yeah.
because like it was like St. John's is right on the coast, so
Yeah. It's right
it
on the
just
water.
it's right on the water. It's like raining and like it's like misting. Like in the winter, it just mists forever. Like it doesn't stop. Like you're always. Oh, I remember my face, my clothes, always just soaking wet.
Mm-hmm.
I never really got cold, but it was
It's
just like wet. It
just
was wet.
annoying. If it's misting all the time, it just gets annoying after a while. Like, because
Man,
no matter what you do, no matter where you go, it's just wet.
yeah, yeah, no. So yeah, but yeah. Other than that, like like St. John's was awesome. But
Yeah.
yeah, I ended up by the end of the year. Like a lot of stuff happened during that year, and like I said, the coach and I just didn't really see eye to eye after our end of the year conversation or whatever, and um, yeah, I made a decision just to leave the team, and that was like one of the more difficult decisions I made because I really did enjoy like Memorial itself, and I really did enjoy um, like all my teammates and stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
those guys like Daniel Gordon. I played with such good players out there,
Yeah.
Davion and Daniel, and like Austin, Greg, all those guys that can like hoop. So it was really fun playing out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then I ended up coming home and like I sat out a year. Um, just kind of like training,
Mm-hmm.
working, and after a year, I kind of thought about going back to school and um, yeah, I was talking to a bunch of different like a few different Canada West teams, a few different AUS teams, and then this would have been 2018,
Yep.
something like that,
Mm-hmm.
2017, 2018, 2018, 2019.
18, 19. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, so I wasn't actually I'd been recruited by Cape Breton as one of the schools. I chose Memorial over Cape Breton, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, and that was before that was like the year Matt Skin left.
Yep.
But yeah, so my friend actually, I was training with him out in BC,
Mm-hmm.
and he was talking to Matt, and yeah, he was like, hey, like, come, I want you to come with me, like, come with me to Cape Breton. And I was like, I don't know, man, I don't know about the East Coast again. Like, I was talking to the Canada West schools. I was gonna stay out west with my family, and Isaiah convinced me.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I went out to Cape Breton with him. Uh, and like similar situation like not with basketball, but I ended up
Mm-hmm.
having to come home because my mom was sick again, and I left like before the season even started, man.
Yeah.
It was like tough.
On that, from Cape Breton too, I had to throw it in. When he put it on Instagram, one of the former teammates from Cape Breton reached out,
Mhm.
said, "I don't have a question, but he's definitely one of my favorite teammates ever, even in a short amount of time.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna say. Maybe we can say, tell me who it is after, but I
I'll
don't
tell you
know.
who it is. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
care. Ozzy
Oh,
Omar.
I was actually gonna say. I was actually about to shout out Ozzy because like those guys out there, like I mean, obviously like Zay knows like me and Zay have been like are like boys. We were living together, but
Mm-hmm.
like Oz and Paul, like those guys can hoop, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's like really funny. And because I played with them for I was there for I think I left in October, so I was only there for a bit, but like Ozzy man, like and he's doing a lot of stuff too, like with social media as well. But
Yeah,
like he can
with
hoop, like
pure jumper, like he's got that
yeah,
thing going.
yeah, like he can and yeah, I love those guys. He like Ozzy and Paul, they like Ozzy's obviously really well known for scoring
Yeah.
because he's a bucket, and like Paul is really well known for his defense. But like Ozzy can play some defense, man. Like he can lock up. He's so
Mm-hmm.
fast. And then Paul opposite is just a bucket. Like it's funny because like yeah, like when you're in practice, like Ozzy will lock up
Yeah.
and Paul will get buckets. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's those guys can really play. And then like Jason, he was young when I was there.
Yeah.
He's so skilled. Uh, and then they have another guy, Ebe, the guy from Thetford.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've watched any of their games, but
Yeah.
he's an animal.
Yeah.
Lou
It's
Dort, Lou Dort.
Ozzy gets a lot of attention for his scoring on the East
Yeah,
Coast. I think we have talked to him on this too. Like nationally, the East Coast as a whole doesn't get the level of respect it deserves.
no, not at all.
And I think if more people would watch the AUS, they would see that he's more than just a scorer. Like you said, he's so quick and he can lock you up on defense. And
He
then
can,
Paul is known for his defense.
yeah.
They'd see what he can do on offense too, and they're okay. Like there's a lot of talent out here that doesn't doesn't get the love. But I needed to throw that in there from Ozzy, so
Yeah,
I
I appreciate
had to
that.
make sure that
Yeah,
made it on.
yeah. I love those guys. That's why I was so yeah. And that after that, like I was in a tough spot, man. Like after that, because my mom and yeah, just so much stuff was going on, and with my mom, and I just didn't know with basketball. Like I was like, that was probably really the first time in my life that I'd really like question like, yo, like every time I go out somewhere, something
Mhm.
else happens that I gotta come back, and uh, yeah, it was tough. That was a tough one because I like
Mhm.
those like I said those guys. There's like Arthur and David. They didn't. I don't think they got to play because Arthur tore his ACL and David had to go home too. But like those guys, like
Right.
and I think they like I mean they had a good season. They had a devastating loss. Like that was
Yeah.
a tough loss in playoffs, but I'd pegged them like with the talent that they had and the way that they were playing defense. Like in I really had them as like I think they'll agree that they
Yeah.
kind of underperformed, but I think that they had higher expectations. I think.
Yeah. And now that just puts a chip on their shoulder,
Yeah,
an
like
even bigger
I'm.
chip going forward because yeah, that UMB lost this year. Like they were up like 18 after the first quarter. They
Yeah,
put up 32 points in 10 minutes, and then they ended up with 76. So they put up 44 the next three. Then yeah, talking to Paul, talking to Coach Skin, or not talking to Paul Ozzy, sorry, on here. Like they both feel like they
oh
left something to be achieved out there
yeah,
this year.
I agree. That's like I definitely like at the beginning of the year, like after I left. I like both years because I was 2 years ago than last year. Like
Mm-hmm.
both years, I was like they've got talent, and Zay played last year, and Zay like Isaiah is like he's so good too. They're so athletic. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they even played a lot like the. I guess you could kind of consider them a bit undersized because they didn't
Mm-hmm.
really add any big guys, and they played like really fast and
Right.
athletic, really
Mm-hmm.
lanky with Isaiah point guard. But no, those guys are really good guys, man. They can really play basketball for
And
sure.
then you fast forward to last year, came back,
Yeah,
Keyano,
man. Yeah,
and ended it team MVP. What was
yeah.
the year like for you being back home, closer to family, playing for hometown? Huskies and just ended it with the MVP. Like, what was the whole year like for you being back at home playing the game without having, I guess, the extra concerns of being on the East Coast and so far away from your mom and everybody else?
Yeah. It was really cool, man. Like I hadn't been home even when I took a year off. I wasn't living at home. I was living in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
So I was still a bit away, but it was
Right.
closer. So it was the first time I'd really been like home in years. So it was good. Like I think it was really necessary, like for my family and stuff. Like they definitely it was good to be back with them, and I think they definitely benefited from having me back.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my dad. Um, yeah. It was a fun year, man.
Yeah.
It was a fun year. It was a fun year. I never really think we were in the same boat as CBU. We underperformed a little bit in the
Yeah. You
playoffs.
guys got some talent too. You guys got some guys who can play.
Yeah. So I mean, but as far as like being home and stuff, it was cool. I got to see a lot of my friends from high school that I
Mm-hmm.
never really I hadn't. I mean, I've always stayed in touch. I like to stay in touch with people, but
Yeah.
being able to like see them a bit more and uh, that kind of thing, it was really cool. Being able to do a lot more stuff in like the community
Mm-hmm.
that it's tough to do like when it's your first year and like at school you don't
Right.
really know. So yeah, I was able to take a um, well, so I mean, rewind back to when I never really was planning. I didn't even know if I was gonna really play basketball again.
Oh,
Um,
really? Okay.
no, like in Canada at least, like I
Right.
had a couple friends that were kind of telling me like, oh heck, I can get you a look to go overseas and you can just kind of be done with this if you want. But at the same time, with my mom and stuff, I was like, I don't know if it's the right time. And there was
Mm-hmm.
just so many questions at that time. And so Coach Jeremy
Mm-hmm.
snuck in and said, hey, come come play, come play.
Yeah.
And at first I was like completely against it
Okay.
because yeah, I was never gonna come back. You can ask him. I was never gonna come back.
Really?
One of my really good friends was like one of my best friends was playing out there. Actually, it was his last year,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Michel.
Yep.
Um, he was out there, and I was never gonna come back. And uh, same kind of thing. Like those other like the schools that I had been talking to
Mm-hmm.
um, before I went to Cape Breton and Canada West had
Yep.
like reached out again and I was just still like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to leave my family at this time. And yeah, just the more I thought about it, the more it made sense. Like, I would be able to live at home for the year as
Mm-hmm.
well. And that would benefit, like, obviously, like financially and
Right.
like just like the mental health of my family would
Mm-hmm.
be great. So yeah, I ended up, talking to Jer and we decided that I'd be able to come on and um, right away. He gave me a really good role. He put me as like team captain right away, and
Mm-hmm.
um, he 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 did all the right stuff to put
Right.
us in this spot. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they were kind of in a situation where like the team image wasn't the best at the time, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, like they had a bit of some. They just were kind of like Jeremy had always coached to like really like successful. I think they were like I don't even know, like 17-5 or something the year before, like really
Something
successful,
like
but
that. Yeah.
yeah, like couldn't really just get over the hump in playoffs. So we sat down and talked, and we're kind of like deciding like what we were gonna like how we were gonna put together a team, like me, him, and
Mm-hmm.
Joe, and like, which way we wanted to go.
Yep.
And yeah, he had obviously like Steph was back, and
Yep.
he laid it out, and he was just kind of like, listen, like uh if you guys kind of buy into what we're doing defensively, like, you guys are going to have a lot of freedom offensively. And he, shout out to Jared because everything he really said, like one of the first coaches I had that everything he really said, like he did, like, you know, and that's like, Jared, he won coach of the year this year.
Yep.
Um, and deservedly so because he put in work.
That,
Yeah, for sure.
That's what you want too. Like you want a coach that's going to be no nonsense. Like what he says is what he does, and what he plans is what you guys do. It comes back to that. Like actions speak louder than words. Like it's one thing. Would have been easy for him to say like this is what we're going to do to try and like appease you to get you back on the roster, and then do something entirely different. It would have been just as easy to be like, okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, now that you're here, we're doing something completely different.
Yeah.
To have a coach that says this is what we're going to do and then actually follow through plan A through Z, it makes things a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah.
And it makes it more fun. Makes it more fun too because you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it was such a fun year. And that's what I was worried about. Like when he wanted me to come back, he's like, I'm from here, and for me coming back to school, like it would. A lot of other people wanted me to come back just because like they know me around the city and stuff. So I was hesitant. And I was like, man, maybe this guy is just trying to get me back to boost the image of the school a little bit or something like that. But no, like he everything he said, like he brought in guys that were just the right guys, and that's what he did. Is he's a player's coach, so everything he said he did, and he let us go offensively, and we all bought in defensively, and we just couldn't pull it off in the playoffs, man. We couldn't pull it off in the playoffs, unfortunately.
You got to think too, like there's probably a little part of him that's like, let's get Jacob back on the roster because he's from here. There's probably a little bit of that was kind of that little bit of an extra motivation for him to have a hometown kid back playing. I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. He told me that after. He was like, man, I want you on the team because you're good and whatnot. But
yeah,
we're gonna get some extra fans, and we're gonna get some a little bit of extra stuff if you come here. So
he would never admit it at the time, probably, but after the fact, like when it's all said and done, he'd be like, yeah, this was the reason why. Like the school probably told him to find a way to boost attendance or whatever, and sure enough, let's get him in here, and we'll tell him this, but this is the real reason why. I hope he doesn't get me in trouble for saying that. Now I'm gonna be boycotted from any Keyano coverage now because I'm making up rumors on the coach.
No, dude. And that's the thing is like shout out Jared because he did a lot for us. We like DJ was always joking because like we were doing like film whatever. I think we did film 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So we'd film on like the Monday of our last games, and then we would do a Wednesday. I don't remember, Tuesday or Wednesday we would do a film of all the other teams' plays, and then the Thursday before the game we would do film on individual matchups.
Okay.
And Jared's by himself, man. Like there's no assistant. Jared's cutting all this film by himself.
That's true too. Yeah.
And I was like, man, how are you cutting all of this film by yourself? And the scouts were great. Like one of the guys we got coming here. I'm not gonna give out any.
Okay, no, that's fine. No, don't give any exclusives. That's all good.
But one of the guys coming here, like he really hoops against us last year, and he said he was like, man, I gotta come here because Jared, he was calling our plays, like he knew he had me scouted, and I was like, he's the only one on the bench. Like who else is doing all this?
Yeah, that's true.
Scouting. Like Jeremy was just grinding in the film room, man, and. I mean, that's what I found like really crazy is to not have any assistants and stuff, and to be able to do all that stuff, which is crazy.
I look at all the websites periodically to check rosters and stuff, and then like before this, when I'm looking at Keyano's roster and coaches, it's just Jer, and then no one else. I'm like, okay, maybe they just put the head coach on. Like maybe they don't put anybody else, and then. Now that you say it, like watching games last year, I'm like, okay, like there's no one else. Like it's
we had Matty, like Matt Morrison.
Yeah.
He was out, but he's also working and stuff, so he wasn't there. He wasn't able to cut film like that and stuff.
Right.
He was more of like a player development, and he was there for some of the games. But yeah, Jared was there, just grinding, man. He was just grinding.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I've never seen something like that.
It just shows you too, like. The amount of work that these coaches put in, like it's a labor of love at the end of the day. Like I'm willing to
Yeah.
bet not a lot of coaches at the college level or the university level get paid a whole heck of a lot. And like
Unless they work.
those unseen hours of head coaches cutting film on their own, like that just shows how much they love the team that they coach, they love the guys, and they love what they do. And
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like, shout at him for that too. Like, that's wicked. That's wicked
Yeah, man.
cool.
Yeah, man. It was cool.
Anything else on the team on your journey that we've missed that you want to add in before we get into some lighter questions to wrap it up?
I can talk about. I mean, last year was fun. We went on like a really good run
Mm-hmm.
during the year. I think we kind of like exceeded our own expectations of regular season. Like that was probably the most successful regular season team I've been on for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think we only lost 2 games all year, and
Yeah.
we went on like a 17 game run or something like that, like
Yeah. Yeah.
15 or 17 something. Yeah, like
It
it
was
was
long.
crazy.
It was long.
Yeah, really long, and we were running with like really only like 7 guys deep, yeah, 7 guys deep, I believe, sometimes 8, and
Really.
yeah, the guys like Joe, those guys can play, man. Joe was battling all the time. Shout out Joe because he
Mm-hmm.
was a dog.
You can play.
DJ, yeah, DJ like DJ can play, man. Like that guy anchored. Him and Joe anchored our defense.
Mm-hmm.
DJ can really hoop, and like that was the thing about our team is like I just don't think that people really uh because everyone on our team was so talented that I don't think people really understood like how good individually everyone was. Like I think we had like 6 guys average double digit points, and
Yeah, you guys were
yeah, like
deep.
Steph,
You guys were
yeah,
deep last year.
yeah, like I think Steph averaged like 16 or 17, and then like it was ranged down to like 12 and 13 or something like that. Like
Yeah, I'm pulling it up on my phone right now, trying to fact check. Well, you guys are 22-2.
yeah,
I lost count of the wins because there's too many in a row. My phone text is small, so that means it was long.
it was a long one, man. We lost our first one, or yeah, we lost our
Yeah, you
first game.
lost Augustana first, and then you went on your run after that.
Yeah,
Um, okay. Yeah, Steph had 16-3. Noah had 15. Angelo had 13-6. Joe had 13. Dijon had 13. And you had 12-3.
yeah. So like everyone was
Damn.
just like averaging, and that was the cool part is like yeah,
Yeah.
anyone could go off on I think each one of us had a 25-point game.
Well, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool. It was really cool that way, and it was really cool that um, like usually teams got to sit down, and Jello and I were like Jello talked to me about this one time. Uh, like usually teams got to sit down, and like the coach got to be like, hey, Jacob, this is your role. We
Hmm.
want this from you. But like from the jump, like we never really had to do that because guys kind of just like fit into their role like right away. I think that's why we banged off that run is because like we never really like everyone just started hooping, and
Yeah.
then everyone knew like yeah I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna just I'm gonna distribute get guys their spots, and DJ's gonna play his D and make his shots. Joe's gonna come in and give us a spark. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
everyone just knew, and we never really had to ever like talk about it.
Hmm.
I mean, and that was the first time I ever had like no formal like hey you gotta do this, you gotta do this. Everyone just knew, which was really cool.
Yeah. And like you
It was
said,
really
too,
cool.
like you said before, everybody bought in. Like everybody
Yeah.
knew what the goal was. They knew what they had to do. So it makes it a lot easier when everybody knows their role. They know what the end goal is. They all work towards the same goal. And like you said, you had 6 guys that could go off at any night. If one guy has an off day, there's 5 other guys there that can go
Yeah.
and just pick up where they left off. And for you guys to rattle off like a 16, 17 game win streak in a North division that is underratedly tough
Hmm.
is a testament to like everybody buying in and just what Jared put
Yeah.
together, what you guys put together, what you guys did. to buy in and just put individual accolades aside and just work towards one goal. And
Hmm.
22-2, like I don't care how you finish in the playoffs, that's no slouch.
Yeah, yeah. It
That's
was a
crazy.
fun run, man. We always say like you really should have been,
Yeah,
or could have been like 24-0.
yeah.
Augustana, they caught us. They got us on the first one.
Hmm.
Stats like we went for like 40 on our head in the first game. We had
Yeah.
like nine or 10 threes or something like that.
I
Something
remember
crazy.
remember seeing that too at the start of the year, and I was like, yeah, that's a big way to start. A
Yeah, I was
40.
like, oh my gosh. We were defending him. Like we put DJ on him and he was
Yeah,
hitting threes. But
you just got to hit your shots.
yeah, yeah. No, it was good. It was a fun run, man. It was a fun run. I let those guys were we were good last year.
Hmm. And I can go on this rant for hours. We talked about it beforehand. Like, it would like nobody pays attention to the CCAA, and it's a shame because 22-2 double-digit win streak should have got a lot more attention than it did. And if that doesn't tell you to pay more attention to the CCAA,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. Just
I know I'll say this. Like there's like that team we would have beat I'll say we probably would have beat a lot of U Sports teams. We played
mhm,
against some pretty high level U Sports teams and we lost I think by 10.
yeah, yeah.
They were ranked in the country at that time.
Hmm.
We played them preseason and at Christmas. So
Yeah. I think there's quite a
yeah,
few CCAA teams that can give U Sports schools a run for their money.
yeah.
And I think it's just the CCAA men's and women's as a whole gets so overlooked that yeah,
That's why you're here, man.
that's why I'm here with more gray hair every day because it's a lot of teams to cover for one person, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
We got to get into the fun ones, the lighthearted questions.
Cool.
And first one is looked at your Instagram and you posted a photo, first actual photo below the black square.
Yeah.
It's sunny, whatever, but I don't care about that. Socks and sandals.
Yeah.
I love it. You
Hot roll, man.
you big socks and sandals guy?
Yeah, big time. I think I'm actually wearing socks and sandals like right now. I got inside socks and inside sandals, so
Ooh, not to be confused with outside socks and outside sandals.
yeah, especially here because it's snowy and wet. So I'm
Right.
not bringing my outside sandals inside because that would just be devastating to my house. But
Hmm,
uh,
that's smart,
yeah,
actually. Hmm,
yeah, no, I got socks and sandals definitely
yeah, I'm
always.
I'm with you
Summertime,
on
yeah,
I'm with you on that 100%. Like I love it. Like I'll go out sometimes in the summer. Like if it's cool, like I'll have like hoodie, shorts, and then socks and sandals. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" Well, it's easy. It's easy to just slide them on, and I don't want to tie my shoes. And I also played a lot of golf growing up, and that was easier to put on golf shoes than it was running shoes. So I was like, you know what, sandals it is, and it's just kind of stuck. But when I saw that, and I saw Bob Murray called you out on it too in the
yeah, yeah.
comments,
Don't help me out.
and hey,
I'll
you
help me
gotta,
out.
it's fashionable. So I just had to shout out the socks and sandals people out
Appreciate
there
that.
because
A lot of people don't appreciate that. A lot of
they
people, I
don't.
mean, you know how it is. You
They
know how it
frown
is.
at it. They shake their head at
Yeah,
it. They look down at it. It's deserves more respect, like the CCAA.
exactly.
We ask this one a lot too. It's the food one: pineapple on pizza.
Uh, Tough one. I'll never order that.
Okay.
I'll never just be like, give me a pineapple, like give me a probably Hawaiian.
Yeah.
Don't give me that. But if
Okay.
I'm really hungry, I'll eat it if I need to. I'm not too
Okay.
picky.
So if it's there, you won't pick it off, but you're not going to go out of your way and specifically order it.
Yeah, like I would never order that.
Okay.
But
That's
if
fair.
like,
That's fair.
if I'm at a little banquet or something like that, and they're gonna give me free pizza and it's a pineapple pizza, I will eat that pineapple pizza.
Because it's free pizza. I mean, you can't beat
I mean, that's
free
true.
food.
Yeah, that's true.
MJ or LeBron?
Ah. Oh man.
I sense the pause, so I think I know where this is going.
Or
And if
you
it goes that way that I'm thinking, it's the wrong way. I'll say that.
listen, I'm gonna say this.
Should
Because
have
it's
I
funny
shouldn't I
because
shouldn't have asked this question.
like I rock with Jordan hard, but
Okay.
man, I just want to know, did you watch the playoffs this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Did
So
you
you
did
like
you did you notice
so
did you notice another guy on there too named Anthony Davis, I think his name is?
I mean, we're not going to talk about second options because you're talking about Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to talk about the second. We're just talking about the first.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a hard question. I argue about this with a lot of people because I'm not like a. I'll ask you this question.
Okay. Oh, we're flipping the script. I like it. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think LeBron could be better than Jordan? Do you think like at some point in his what like could LeBron do something that makes him the GOAT?
Um, I don't know. I think that's a tough one. I've never been asked that before. What do I think LeBron has to do to get over the hump?
Yeah, like because obviously like I mean you're a
Hmm.
Jordan guy
It's
and
because I'm a bit older too, I think. Not by much, but
but but but that's what I'm saying is like so for me right now I'd still say Jordan is the GOAT.
Hmm.
But I think LeBron can be the GOAT. I think 100 like if you're trying to tell me that some next 2 years
Okay.
he goes for 2 championships, even one championship, even
Okay.
maybe even no championships, and he takes a scoring record
Okay.
and he
Scoring
yeah,
record, then things get interesting.
right? And if he wins a championship on top of that,
Then
now
it
he
gets
has
more
almost
interesting.
the same. Yeah, now he has almost the same amount of championships, way better stats. Like
Yeah.
the stats argument obviously goes to LeBron, but you can't
Mhm.
say that because he played way more years, whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. But if he wins another chip, even not 4 chips, I say if he wins one more chip
Okay.
and he goes for the scoring
Mhm.
championship, the scoring title, which I think he's going. I think that's what his goal is.
Yeah, he's sticking around till he gets that. Then
I
he's
think
done.
it's hard to deny it, man, because he's great.
I can see it from both sides. I
Hmm.
understand why people say LeBron, and there's the recency bias. I think a little bit too because that's all some people have seen. Like the younger generation, like it's just LeBron. They never saw Michael in his glory. I don't know. Like LeBron to me is probably the best all around player,
Hmm.
just with size and what he's able to do at what 35, 36 now.
Hmm.
But just Jordan was a different dude. He was just he's wired different. And I mean 6 for 6 titles, 6 for 6 MVPs, 2 3-peats. I mean what he did for the game, like how he impacted the game, changed the way people watch basketball, like the amount of people that he brought to the game.
Hmm.
Like you see the
Interaction,
mobs
yeah.
of people that came to just watch him. Like that impact I think he had on the game helped kind of shape what LeBron was able to do. I don't know if the crowds would have been as big for LeBron if Jordan didn't come first. I think just what he had, the impact he had on the game with the
Hmm.
Jordan shoes, the fans, the just the media circus around it, and then
Hmm.
the 6 for 6 MVPs and titles and 2 3-peats. I think for me,
Listen,
that's kind
I'm
of what
I'm
makes him the GOAT.
I'm not denying that Jordan is unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I don't want to take anything away from Jordan because
No.
especially like I mean I like watching everyone watched The Last Dance, like that was incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like that's the thing about LeBron is you can make the same argument that 3 chips of 3 different teams. That's tough because you know what? I've been in different teams.
Yeah.
I've bounced around, and I'll tell you what, it's hard to adapt to every different system.
That's true.
Regardless if you're LeBron James, like they say LeBron, like he is the system, but
He is the system.
but
Yes.
different places got different cultures,
Yeah.
right? Like that's a big thing, and I've seen that at different stuff. So and it happens quick, man. Like second year every time. Like that's for me. That's where I think he's not there yet.
No,
But
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 and
I
that
think and that's my point. Is I wanted that's why I wanted to ask you that because
okay.
my dad and a couple of my friends, Jeremy, he's like no matter what I say, it's like no, like Jordan. But that's my question is
Yeah.
what could he do?
I
Because if he
I
can't do anything,
mhm.
then it's a question of is it just a bias?
But then if he I said this to Coach Wood at Concordia.
Mm-hmm.
If he ruins Space Jam 2,
Yeah, actually,
then
yeah.
he is done. Like he is out of the conversation altogether. Like that. And apparently, like there's a plot out for this for the movie.
I heard that plot and I was like, that's actually I just mentioned this
It's
to
dangerous.
my
That's a
brother
dangerous slope. It's a slope you might die on. I'm
right
just
after
saying
it
right
came
now.
out, very close after he won. It came out and
Hmm.
I was like, man, and I was obviously I was hyped. I was like, man, he can go for the fifth title. He can, and then I saw this plot and I was like, man, really, if he if he messes this up, he's out of it. He's out of the
That's
he's
like
he's gonna be done with it.
that
We see
movie. Like number one, like there was no need for a second Space Jam. Like that in I mean it's
that one I'm with you on.
1996. I mean, don't ruin a good thing because there's
I
going to
don't
be a
got
lot of
you on.
90s kids, myself included, that are coming after him online because I'm an internet warrior and I don't want to do it face to face. I'm going to be barking because that don't ruin a good thing. That was my childhood.
I got no like argument for all the. I think for every LeBron or every Jordan, I can argue pretty good.
Mhm.
That no,
You can't argue
I
that.
I, I don't I don't. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say,
And
all right.
there's going to be
I
people that say, well, his like box revenue was higher. Like the movie made more money. Well, it's also 24 years later,
yeah.
and
Well,
movies are a
just
big
I'm gonna wait
thing
and see.
now.
I'm gonna wait and see. I don't. It's one of those movies where I don't know if I want to watch it. But
No,
like for example, like what was that movie that came out? Like Uncle Drew.
oh yeah, with Kyrie.
I didn't really enjoy that, and I
Yeah.
thought his commercials were like sick. Like I
The
loved the Uncle
commercials
Drew,
were gold.
right? And I was like, did we really need to make the movie?
Nope.
And I
No, we
kind of
didn't.
have I kind of have a similar feeling with Space Jam, but I'm LeBron. I'm gonna let him. He I never bet against LeBron. Someone actually bet me in the finals that he were gonna beat them for
Oh,
the game 6, and I was like, listen, never bet against LeBron. Okay,
yeah.
that's something that you got to learn. So I'm not gonna bet against LeBron. I'm just gonna wait and see, and if it's bad, I'll keep my mouth quiet.
I'm just gonna look at Twitter. I'm just gonna watch reactions and watch whatever else, and then base it off that. Because if people say it's good, maybe. But if they're like it's a train wreck, I'm
Yeah, no, I don't
not
want to.
ruining a good thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Last one for you. And it's one I ask everybody at the end. We've kind of
Mm.
touched on it already with people not really watching or paying attention to the CCAA or youth sports from a player's perspective, having been in the ACAC and the AUS, you've seen it at both levels. What do you think needs to be done, or what can we do to get more people paying attention, talking about the game in Canada, and get it to the level of respect, admiration, and attention that it deserves to be?
That's a good question. I think that like this kind of stuff is definitely like a start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like building more of a positive image around it. And then I think a lot of it has to do with like the schools themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think the schools themselves, both AUS, both not AUS, sorry, like I guess the conferences,
Mm-hmm.
U Sports and CCA. both I think need to do like a better job of promoting themselves, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yep.
They do have there is like AUS has a an Instagram page or whatnot.
Yep.
But I think that there definitely can be another level that they can take it to,
Right.
and I don't think that I don't think it's that difficult to get it to that level.
No.
Or to try and get it to that level. You know what I mean? Like I think they can put like a lot more resources into it
Mm-hmm.
and coordinate that throughout the schools. You
Right.
know what I mean? Yeah, they could do so much. They could do so much that
Mm-hmm.
just covering individual schools and then covering competitions, covering. I think that it starts definitely because I mean athletes and people like you can do a lot, but you guys can only do so much if the schools themselves aren't really on the same page
Right.
as us, right?
Yep.
So I think it's definitely like a shift that needs to be made from like the higher up level. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna market our brand a bit better.
Yeah. There are some schools that do it really well, and then
Mhm.
there's a bunch that don't, and like they do an okay job during the season, and then when it's done, like I always use
Well,
from like
yeah,
March to October, dead silent.
yeah, exactly.
And like I've got emails out to coaches now to set up future interviews for this, and again, it comes back to me planning way too far in advance.
Mhm.
But like email like SIDs and whatever, try and follow like proper protocols, like media requests, and they'll sit quiet. Like there's no answers, and then you want to try and legitimize what you do and get people paying attention when there's an opportunity to bring eyeballs to what you want to do, and then you don't take it, but then you want to complain later on, then it's not a good look.
Mhm.
But I think conferences can do a lot more to promote any sport, not even just basketball. Just promote your sport. And I think
Yeah,
the ACAC has been doing a good job with that now with their member Mondays, kind of showcasing whatever
yep,
they got going on. Needs to be a lot more of that
yeah, yeah,
around.
exactly. But I think that they could. I mean, yeah, yeah. There's definitely, like you said, there's some schools that do a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely like summertime.
It's the time to do it.
Summertime's the time to do it. Like build up a little bit of anticipation for the season, get people excited to come watch the games, right? I feel like even if you do a certain amount during the year,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's tough because it's like you're kind of behind. Like if you built up that through July and August,
Mm-hmm.
built up some anticipation, and then when the time comes, people are ready for it.
Yep.
Instead of okay, build it up September, October, and then halfway through the soccer season or whatever. Well, now we're just
Yeah.
getting people to notice it. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like they're a little bit behind,
Yep.
and I mean you hit it right on the head. Like
Yep.
they
Any
definitely.
any momentum you gain from like September, October to March is gone if you don't do anything afterwards. Like you're just
Yeah.
starting over every year. It's just rinse, repeat, and then like you said, by mid end of season, people know players' names or stuff about them, and then season's done. Okay,
Done.
like
Yeah.
use the summer to highlight your incoming players, your returnees, whatever, because then they at least know who they are when the season comes back, and you're not starting over every single year trying to
Mhm.
figure out how do I get traction online. Well, you had it last year.
Yeah.
Keep it going all
But,
year, and it's to me it doesn't seem hard,
no.
but I think it's a
No.
lot harder. Or people make it a lot harder than it is.
Yeah, I think people. Yeah. Yeah. I never really understood that because I've mentioned it's funny because I've actually mentioned this to like a few people and like trying to be like, hey, like, why don't you just like do this? You know what I mean? Why
Mm-hmm.
don't you just like hop on your Instagram every day and just make a post? You know what I
Just
mean? Like every second day. You know
mm-hmm.
what I mean? Like every third day maybe instead of once every 2 weeks. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like really simple stuff that could just be like, hey, you know, take a video like just for schools, like, hey, take a video of people practicing, like get the
Mm-hmm.
students to know like you got a couple teams here. You got guys working.
Yeah.
Get
And
to know your athletes, right? Get to know your different coaches. Like
and
exactly what you're
for
doing here.
me, like the summer's the time to try your ideas. Like if you want to try things to see if they work or don't work, do it in the summer and then find out what works. And then September rolls around, athletes are back on campus, roll them out, and away you go.
Yes.
Don't just,
Yeah.
and even during the season, try things. If you only do it twice, who cares? At least you tried it. You know what works, what didn't work. The amount
Yeah.
of times I've tried things on here that have failed miserably.
You gotta try it.
Exactly. You don't know until you do it.
Yeah,
But
but that's the thing that I've like is another thing that I think about is like just the consistency of some things. Like
mhm,
I mean, like I've seen like some of the different teams or like conferences like I follow. Like I'll go like 2 weeks where it's like really like, oh, okay, like we got, well, that's what you guys are doing. Okay, cool,
mhm,
cool. And then like, okay, a month goes by and I'm like, oh, I forgot about you guys.
not a thing
Oh, that's
posted.
what's going on now. Oh, it's your first game now? Oh, okay. Oh,
Hmm.
no, okay. What happened for the last 2 months, man? But yeah, so it's just like they're going like, look, it's like I feel like it's just like they forget that they got the Instagram account or they got
Hmm.
they're like, oh shoot, I forgot I had this account, and then they
Hmm.
they go for like 2 weeks and then they kind of just it got to
Hmm.
be more of a priority.
Yep. Consistency is key. Actions speak louder than words.
Exactly.
It all comes back full circle.
For real.
I'll leave the last word to you. Any more shout outs you want to give? Teammates, players, coaches, whoever. I'll leave the last word to you and we'll wrap it up.
Oh man, you know what? I really enjoyed this. Really had fun here. Really appreciate you giving me this platform, but giving, like we just talked about, giving all the athletes, guys and girls, coaches, giving all of us a platform that we don't really have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's awesome. Love to see it. So
I
shout out to
appreciate
you,
that.
man. Shout
Thanks.
out to
Hey,
you.
I appreciate that. And to me, it's a lot of fun. Like, I love doing this. I just love
Yeah,
hearing
yeah,
stories. And like I said before we came on, like, who knows how many stories have gone untold over 4 or 5 year careers that could inspire someone in their shoes,
yep.
younger, older, whoever. And to me, that's the big thing. Just give a platform. And I was asked the other day, like, how do people get an interview? Like, honestly, if you want one, we'll make it happen. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
secret method to this. Like I said, people have suggested your name, I think, probably 4 or 5 times. So
Mhm.
we'll reach out, we'll make it happen. It's not
Yeah, man.
nothing complicated. And if you don't want to do it, no hard feelings. I don't get butthurt and just if it comes up again down the road. But to me, it's a lot of fun. I just love
Yeah,
just
yeah. I
sharing
don't.
stories.
It's cool. I know some people might get a little nervous or something like that. They don't
Hmm.
like being on the camera, but no, for anyone who's maybe hesitant about it, like it's a good time, man. Like you get to just talk and
Hmm.
talk basketball or talk
Whatever
whatever,
you want.
whatever you want to
Literally,
talk about.
whatever you want to talk about. It doesn't have to
Yeah,
talk about basketball. If you have a secret ballet hobby, by all means, let's talk ballet. I don't know what I'll
exactly, man.
contribute.
Yeah, it's a good time. So thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime,
It's been a pleasure.
anything I can do for you down the road, by all means, let me know. And if you want to do it again, let's make it happen.
Cool, my friend.